Okay, now we will get started. All right, so let's start off laying on our backs today and taking a couple breaths. You can bend your knees and let your feet lay flat on the mat. Maybe even work on spreading out your toes a little bit, letting your feet stretch out. I have sweaty feet, so this is helping the air go between the toes. And allow your head to be in a position so that your chin is tipping in towards your throat slightly. And the crown of your head is kind of pulled up away from the top of your shoulders. Trying to feel as though you're lengthening through the spine, so your tailbone is kind of pulling away from your middle back. We're allowing that belly to expand as we inhale, so we're ballooning out to inhale, we're relaxing the belly to exhale. Okay, let's take the hands, inhale, reach them up toward the ceiling, overhead. And then reach them all the way back. I just was talking about how good this shirt is, and now my shoulders are getting hot. Reaching those hands as far back as you can, as long as there's no pain or tightness through the shoulders that are going to prevent you from going back. One more breath. We're going to inhale. Let's pull the knees up toward the chest. Bring the arms around and hug the knees in. And if this feels kind of squishy, like your top of your thigh is smacking into your hip or your pelvis, you can actually let your knees kind of flop off to each side. So you're kind of opening up through the middle of the legs, but sometimes that's more comfortable for the hips. So you don't feel like you're squishing yourself. Okay, we're gonna take those hands, place them off to the side. Big breath in and exhale, let the knees just fall to one side of the mat. Breathe in through the center, exhale to drop the knees off to the other side. Again, breathing in through the center, exhale, drop the knees off to one side of the mat. And last time, big breath in, and then breathe out as those knees fall to the other side of the mat. Okay, we're gonna inhale, come back to the center. You can place one foot down with your knee still bent. We're gonna place the hands behind your opposite knee and just try to straighten that leg up toward the ceiling. Big stretch through the back of your leg. You can maybe even feel like you're gonna point your toes here if you wanna get more of a stretch on the front of that shin too. Keep that leg held up. We're gonna take the knee that's bent, the foot that's attached to the floor. We're gonna straighten that leg out. So we're keeping one leg up, straightening the other leg underneath you on the mat. Awesome, then we're gonna bend the knee that we were just holding, place that foot down. Let's bring the other leg up. So starting with grabbing behind the back of the knee, pulling it up towards your chest. And then we're actively straightening towards the ceiling. So if you'd like, you can try pointing those toes and stretching out through the front of the shin. And we're going to take the foot that's attached to the floor, straighten that leg out so that leg is nice and straight, nice and open through your hips still. Awesome. You can breathe in, and as you exhale, just lower that leg down to the floor, and you can let it go with those hands. Okay, let's go ahead and roll over onto our belly. Okay, so rolling over onto our belly, we're gonna place the hands, gosh, my shirt's like getting stuck now. Place your hands out overhead. We're gonna rest our forehead down to the mat for a moment. So the easy little passive twist here. We're going to take one arm, cross it over the other. Keep your feet attached to the ground, but we're going to open up that front side of the body and turn it to face toward the ceiling. So we're not picking up our feet, we're just turning through the hips and a big turn through your chest and your shoulders. Let's bring that arm through. We're going to do this. We're going to repeat on the other side. So crossing that arm over, keeping the feet attached to the floor. Reaching that hand over. Again, big breath in through the center. When you're ready, you'll switch over, reaching that hand up and away. And then last time when you're ready, we'll bring that hand down. Other hand goes across, little X shape with the body. Okay, so when you're ready, we'll return to the center. And we're going to bring our upper body up off the floor by placing our forearms down. Little lift through the chest. We're going to let those shoulders roll down the spine. And you can keep your head kind of in neutral. So if you're keeping your eyes open, you can look out toward the front of your mat. Maybe one day I'll get over this perpetual yawning thing. Okay, then we're going to bring the body up. Let's send the knees out wide, big toes together. Big stretch backwards. Relaxing through that low back. Do 2 more breaths. And we're going to come on forward and let's go into a tabletop position for a moment so we can go through cat and cow. So hands underneath those shoulders, knees under your hips. Big breath in. We're going to arch through the spine. Put your forehead and your tailbone. When you're ready, breathe in and then exhale to round. Rounding the spine and lifting kind of toward the ceiling. Again, we're inhaling, arching through the spine, lift your forehead and your tailbone. Big breath in, exhale to round, pushing up and away. Okay, so when you're ready, let's return to neutral and let's walk it forward toward the front of the mat. So still in a tabletop position. You're gonna curl your toes under, and let's just give it a second just to stretch out through those feet. If you need to sit back like we did on Monday and stretch those feet out some you can. Just make sure those toes are all prepared. So we're going to be going into a little bit of a hover. So we're going to stay in our tabletop position. Back is nice and flat. We've got a slight tuck of our hips. So your tailbone feels like it's being pulled behind you slightly. So your lower abs are nice and strong. Big breath in. Let's exhale and lift those knees up off of the floor. Give it 2 breaths. And then we're going to make this kind of hard. We're going to keep our torso controlled, but walk those feet back so we end up in a high plank. 2 more breaths. Now we're going to drop the knees toward the mat, allow the hips to sink. We're going to lift through the chest and go into a big old cobra, 2 breaths. Then we're going to keep the knees right where they are. We're going to send the hips back, open up through the chest, and take the weight off of the wrists like a extended child's pose, but with the knees closer together. Two more breaths here. Make sure your wrists are ready to go. We're going to actually go through all of those one more time. So starting with the tabletop hover. Okay, so taking it forward when you're ready. Take your time. It's the same things over again, so if you need to take a longer break here, you know where we're going. Your hands are going to go underneath your shoulders. Go ahead and pull those shoulders down from your ears. Get a tiny tuck of your hips so your belly and your hips are nice and controlled. We're going to curl the toes under. Big breath in, exhale to hover. So 2-inch hover through those knees. Give it 2 breaths. And I like, give it a 3rd breath. That 3rd breath, you can reach the feet back. Keep that torso nice and controlled. 3 breaths. You can do it. Don't let your back start to sag. Now we're going to drop the knees down. Allow the hips to relax. Open up through the front of the body. 3 breaths. You're only sinking your hips down as far as you can handle. You shouldn't be putting too much stress on your lower back. Okay, and then after 3 breaths, one more time, bringing it back. Take the weight off of the wrists, only as far back as you're comfortable with, and give this one between 3 and 5 breaths. No lie, this is sometimes how I wake up in the morning. I'll put a pillow behind my knees and put my head on the pillow and be like, I don't want to wake up. Okay, so we're gonna come on up. All right, let's send the knees out wide. We're gonna do a little upper body stretch before we get out of this position. So toes together again, knees out wide. And we're gonna take one hand, just stretch it up towards the ceiling, nice and high. Breath in. We're gonna exhale through just one time, threading the needle. So we're trying our best to lower that shoulder toward the floor. Getting as close as you can. 3 breaths here. Ready, we're bringing that hand up, placing it down on the mat. One more time on the other side. Big breath in, turning and reaching. Exhaling to thread the needle through. 3 breaths. Okie dokie, artichoke. We're going to come up out of that position. Let's go ahead and stand up, get off of our bridge. Awesome. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into like a split stance position, just kind of warming this up. So we've got at least a shoulder width between our feet. We're not going to have them in line. They're just nice and passive. You can bend your front knee a little bit if you'd like. Maybe place your hands behind your back just to keep your chest lifted. We're just going to fold over. Give this a couple of breaths. And we're going to repeat on the other side. So you can bring your body up. Once you put that foot in front, send the other leg back. Same thing, doesn't have to be huge. Tiny bend of the knee, hips are going to press back, and a little passive stretch. Bring that one up. Go ahead and bring those feet forward. Just going into a nice ragdoll here, so hips are going to go back. Relax knees, stretch the hands down toward the floor. Just don't rip your shirt out from under your armpits. Attaching those hands to the legs, we're going to inhale, flatten out the spine, bringing those hands up, above your kneecaps, lower part of your thigh here. Thigh. Breath in, exhale down. Fold the hands and rock a little side to side. Release those hands. Inhale, knees forward, hips forward, circle the hands around. Stretch them up. Reaching back. And then nice and easy down toward the floor. Okay, so we're going to get in our lunge position again that we were just in a moment ago. Let's send the leg back to maybe slightly further than you did when you first got here. Chest is going to be held up tall. We're going to start with kind of flattening out our pelvis. So I like to have us tuck just a little bit. So you'll feel this right back here. Glute squeeze in, but good stretch here on the front of your hip. Okay, so we're going to move our weight forward. As if going into a warrior pose. Let's bring those hands up. Holding the beach ball. This is summertime. One more breath in. And then take the same side arm as your front leg, place it into that soft spot right here on the side of your body, and a little side bend. Bring that hand down, straighten up through the front leg. One more time, we're stretching the hands, we're going all the way down toward the floor. Staying folded at the hips, we're going to lift the chest. Let's bring the hands up, and we're going to tuck the pinkies in for Superman. 3 deep breaths. You should feel this a whole bunch in the back of your front leg. Breathe in, relax down one more time, exhale. Ready? You can walk your body up, away from that front leg. Bring that leg forward. You can shake it out some you can. Then we'll repeat on the other side. Now going through the same stuff. Getting into our split stance here, or warrior position. Chest is held up tall. We're tucking the hips under slightly, so the pelvis is nice and level. We're going to move our weight forward. So once you start tucking those hips, you should already feel a little bit of a stretch on the front of that back hip. Inhale, bring the hands up overhead, holding the beach ball. Settling down through those feet, so you're stretching out those toes. Take the front side arm and place it into the side of your body and a little side. That hand down, straighten up that front leg a little bit, relax your hands down toward the floor. Now same thing, we're keeping that hinge position at the hips, but we're going to flatten out the spine, bring those hands up to the side with pinkies pulled in. It's a big stretch through the back of that front leg. Big breath in, exhale one more time, stretch those hands down. So then we're going to go ahead and bring it on up. Bring that back leg forward. Wiggle out your feet or your toes if you need to. And last thing before we sit back down onto the mat. So we're going to take the feet, so shoulder width or a little wider. But go ahead and turn your toes out slightly. We're going into the squats that we do sometimes, just for a big stretch through the middle of your thighs. So you can bring your hands together at your chest, just so you have something to guide you, lifting your chest into your hands. We're going to allow the knees to go out in the direction of the toes, and we're dropping our hips down and back, and you're going to go as low as you can handle. Taking a couple of breaths. And then bringing it back up. So as you squat down, try not to collapse your upper body. If you start to collapse, then that might be too low for you. Big breath in, exhale down. Same thing, keeping that chest lifted. The goal is to kind of drop your elbows down toward the inside of your knees. You don't have to make it there all the way. One more time, standing on up. We're gonna do it one more again. Big breath in, and exhale down. Take 2 deep breaths in and out while you're down here. And we're gonna take those hands, stretch them toward the floor so we don't fall over, and you can sit back onto your butt. Perfect. Okay, let's go ahead and stretch out on the mat. You can lay on your back or on your belly. I think I'm gonna lay on my belly today for these last couple of minutes. Try to find some position that is relaxing for you, and just breathe for this last part. We'll lay here for one more moment. Obviously, if you're at home, you can lay here as long as you need to. Alrighty, tidy guys. Ooh, I think I have a mark on my forehead. Thank you guys for tuning in today. And we'll be doing this again next week. So y'all stay safe and have a great rest of your week. Bye.